Well, I thought it was. Hi, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. This is Biz Chicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run. Hey, and take the hassle out of your hustle. And today is Monday. And you know, on Monday, things be digging and pinging. Let me turn off my phone. On Monday, we sit back, we relax, we have our coffee, tea, thoughts, and conversations. It is our desire that you join us for a stimulating conversation today. Now, take a minute, get your stuff, get hydrated, because it's about to be a wild ride. We're also over here on Clubhouse, and we just want to give a shout out to all those who are going to be joining us on Clubhouse. We want them to know that we are recording. We want to give a shout out also to our replay gang over there on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter. We just want to say, hey guys, thank you so much for coming back and watching the show. With that, we want to get started, and I want to give a shout out to my partner, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. How you doing this morning, Fran?
I am doing well. How are you this morning?
All is well. All
Good.
is well.
So today is a continuing conversation that we were having. TJ started all this. I'm just going to blame it on her. TJ, all the way from New York City, she started a conversation yesterday, and she had one the day before about playing small. Are you playing small was the question. And it was because Mario Armstrong had a post on his Instagram that talked about a person. Hey, TJ, that talked about a person. I'm gonna let TJ tell you the story.
Oh,
TJ, I picked up on your conversation from yesterday and the day before, and you can tell them how that conversation came to be, because I thought it was really, really good. Because we tend to play small. So let me get, hey Liz. So let me get TJ, if you want to tell us the origin of your conversation.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. I follow Mario Armstrong. I'll give a quick backstory on Mario. Mario's like a Today Show contributor. He does tech stuff. He has a business. He has Emmys. He does TV shows, but he also does a podcast. So I think this was a segment of his podcast. It was on Instagram, and he was talking about a guy he follows on Instagram. His name is Charlie Rocket. I think it's Charlie Rocket. And this guy has an RV, and he spends his own money, and he goes around. Oh, hold on, my phone. Turn that off. So he goes around. I'm not sure where he is. I didn't do any more investigating because I'd forgotten Super Bowl. But he goes around. He has an RV, an old RV that says the Dream Rocket or Dream Machine or something, and he goes around and he helps people with their issues, like if they're getting evicted or they need food or they need this for the kids or clothing. He goes around in the RV and helps them out. So, but the RV is breaking down, it's old, and I guess it costs more to maintain it, and they need a new one. So he was asking his followers to help him get the attention of RV companies, which means tweet at. I'm not sure who the top names are, but tweet at them and go to Instagram and say, hey, this guy's doing good stuff. Give him. Help him out or give him a new RV or whatever. I'm not sure the exact terminology that he did, but it came to be that the new RV, it cost $600,000 or something. I just have that number. I think Mario mentioned that because it's audio. So Mario was saying that he was surprised at some of the comments at Charlie Rocket saying, "Oh, Why are you asking for a new RV? You should be happy, get a rental or get a used or a second hand. And Mario saying that upset him because it was like, you're playing it small. You're thinking small. And Charlie's thinking big because when you think big, you aim for the stars. This is a quote Mario said, you aim for the stars. You might not hit the stars, but you hit the moon, which is better than the position you're in. So we had a discussion yesterday about the attitude that people have. Why would we think small and not go, shoot for the stars?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so Charlie, this guy, Charlie Rocket, he didn't say, I'll just get my RV fixed. He's like, no, I'm going to ask for the big ass, which is one of Mario's things. He says, you should ask for the big ass. Don't think small. So that's what we were talking about yesterday. Are you playing it small?
Right. And so I just carried that conversation on today and talk about playing big because it was a really good conversation. Mark weighed in, Mark Ward, our resident comedian, he weighed in, and
he's a life strategist. He is, he's deep. I mean, he may be a comedian, but he's also deep.
Right. And we were weighing in, talking about it. What makes people want to play small when big is available? And
here's, I'm sorry, Brandon.
So
Go ahead.
This
morning I saw Mario has a new post up on his Instagram where he does a follow-up. So he's saying that that RV campaign wasn't successful. The Charlie Rocket, he couldn't get the attention. But Mario's saying what happened is people started donating to him to get an RV, a new RV, and he has the new RV. So he played it big. It didn't hit with the RV company. Like, they didn't give him a new one or give him a used one. But because of his, telling his story and why he's doing it. And also remember, people are following him on Instagram, so they see the good work that he's doing. So it's not a scam. So these people decided to give money. I mean, people giving like $75,000, $20,000, because to get a new RV is very expensive. So it is like $600,000, and he got like the kit, like the bus, like the select. When Whoopi travels, she has a custom bus and stuff. So it's kind of bus. So I just saw on his post that Mario said that because people gave money, like people that follow him, I don't think he asked for the money. They decided to give him the money. So now he has the new bus to continue and traveling across the country. And he helps people, if they're getting evicted, if they need food, if they need clothes. And it's important in a pandemic. So that's the follow-up to the story today.
Wow.
What a great ending. It's not an ending. What a great beginning. Wow, a new RV that he doesn't have to worry about, is it going to break down? You know what I'm saying? So what a stress reliever so that he can be about the business that he is assigned to do.
Right. And that's what we wanted to talk about today. Hello, Yvonne, and welcome to Clubhouse. This is your first, you're within the first few days of your first week. And Dr. Tachi is here, and we have Elizabeth Green, and then we got
Liz
Lattimore.
So we got Maureen over here and Pat over here in Facebook and over on YouTube. We just want to say, hey guys, thank you for tuning in.
And yes, definitely. Thank you for tuning in. We are recording, for those who are on Clubhouse, we are recording. And so if you want to have a conversation, just raise your hand and we'll get you in to talk about this, weigh in on this subject, playing big or are you playing small? And you know how they talk about it in sports, go big or go home?
Yes.
Okay, so they went big yesterday in the Super Bowl. Now I want to hand it to, what's his name, Mahone. That boy was falling and throwing passes, and they were just about caught. I mean, it's amazing to watch. I do watch football, by the way. It was amazing to see him still, even though they were behind, he was still playing big.
His heart was in the game.
It was more than in the game. He was throwing. I'm talking about he had turf toe. If somebody could ever explain to me what that is,
I have no
but
idea.
I can look it up too. But
Okay.
he still played well. He put all in. He didn't shrink back because they were behind or whatever. And that's part of playing big and not playing. He didn't have a mentality to play small. Anybody else want to weigh in, Dr. Tachi? Or
While we're waiting for that, I want to give a shout out over here to Liz and to Jerry. They're over here on Facebook, and we just want to say hi. How you doing? It's good to see you.
Yep. So let's see. Dr. Tachi, go ahead, please.
Okay, can you please repeat what somebody called me and I missed the whole last part?
We were talking about how Mahone, he still played big even though they didn't win the game. Because he was taking, I watched him throw some passes. I'm like, they are he is falling in the midst of a tackle and threw the ball and almost hit and literally the guy, he did make the connection to the guy just didn't quite catch it. But it was some amazing to see him still play big, even though they weren't winning. Hey, Tim Gillette.
Yeah, it's and hello, Randall, joined at the bottom.
Hey, Randall.
Here's the thing. Sometimes playing big is not about winning. So if you know ahead of time that you are not going to win or it's not going to result in the desired result, would you then give less effort? So you should always, in my opinion, always play big, always aim to get to the highest pinnacle. And this is the interesting thing. I was thinking about this as you were saying that. It's only certain groups usually that are told to be satisfied with what they have. If you think about it, so there's always the okay, my my thing is, how Shonda Rhimes has this, but now first of all, she has the most download or most watched show on Netflix to date, Bridgerton. She left ABC after one of the executives said to her, now if you don't know the story, she was trying to get some passes to Disney for her sister and family that were coming. Cost $147. She asked for them. When they got to the gate, they didn't work. Something was up. So, of course, she said something. Shonda Rhimes did. And an executive said to her, don't you have enough? That was when she talked to her people and said, get me over to Netflix. So the thing is, people always will try to decide what is enough for you, but you should not take their thoughts, I should say, of what is enough for you. You're the only one that knows what's enough. And, that wasn't even a big ask. That's something that everybody else got. So it's interesting when you look at certain people in certain groups who are told to be satisfied with what they have. Be grateful, but don't be satisfied. That makes you complacent.
Wow. And so you cannot be complacent. And yesterday when we were having this conversation with TJ, why do some people feel that they have to play it small? What's the thought process that, I can't ask for that?
You know something? I think it starts very early in our lives. People speak this into us from the beginning. Do you have enough for the whole class? Are you going to share that? You have enough. That piece is too big for you. Your eyes are bigger than your stomach. There are all these little expressions that are working on our mentality to get us to settle beneath what we're aiming for.
Right. And we should never settle. And Mario.
Right. And can I add real quick with the conversation we had yesterday on Clubhouse? I think Ray brought up that the issue about parenting, about your parents making a box for you and making you fit into it. So that's why, as an adult, you may go, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't reach for the thing that I want. I thought that was a good point.
I think so too.
And
Yvonne and Randall and Cherise, you are more than, if you want to weigh in on this conversation, just raise your hand and we'll get you up to the stage. And Randall, welcome to Clubhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And Jerry's in the house over here on this
on
side.
Facebook.
So is Tim. And
Jerry's comments over here on Facebook, she says, true. Mom always said to make sure you had enough for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's necessarily our responsibility, but okay.
No, but see, these are the kinds of sneaky things. You know how Coach Karen talks about sneaky fears? These are the kinds of sneaky things that come up in our psyche when we're about to ask for something big.
Right. And I made mention yesterday about a lady, she put together this conference. And here in Sacramento, California, we have a new hotel called the Kempton Sawyer Kempton, whatever the name is. And we have a brand new, well, it was new then because we had a new arena that went in. And then there was a hotel built right next to the arena. Mm-hmm. She decided, instead of going the regular, I'm going to go to the Hilton and the DoubleTree where the carpets are well worn and all of that. She decided she's going to do her event at the Kempton Sawyer. And she pulled out all the stops. She had a A-list speaker come. And she thought twice about asking this person to come. She said, all I can do is ask. They might say no, but at least I can ask. Well, the person said yes. And she's not like well known and big or anything, but the person came to her event. It was an outstanding event. I'm telling you, the food was top notch. Everything was an A-list event. And a lot of people would not have thought that, but she went big. She didn't play it small. She could have, fell back into the box. Well, we're going to go to the Holiday Inn where, because it's not going to be that much. She didn't do that. She played big. And yes, the little sneaky fears were trying to tell her, oh, you can't do that. So.
May I interrupt?
Yes, ma'am.
Or add. I don't like to interrupt.
Yes, you're not interrupting.
Conversation. I didn't say hi to Cherise. Hi, Cherise. Hi, Yvonne. Here's the thing with the being told or asked, do you have enough for other people? It's there's some cognitive dissonance that comes with this because I think it's also dependent on culture. When you are in so for example, many cultures, I'll take my own, Igbo culture in Nigeria, you don't just do for self because it's a collective community. Everything you do is for the good of the community, so the greater good of the community. Hence, do you have enough for everyone? And I think, that's where it comes from. But then when you're coming to a culture that's largely individualistic, and it is, the U.S. is an individualistic culture, that's when you have to do for self. So I think there's a balance that needs to be had. Know when you need to make sure everyone's voice is included, but also make sure your voice is included and your wants and needs are included. So it's balancing the two, I think.
Yes.
Well, I feel like this. In America, when we do prosper, hopefully it's for the greater good. You can only drive so many cars, live in so many houses. You know what I'm saying? And I would hope that we would have a altruistic purpose behind some of the things that we do.
Right. Cherise, in Clubhouse, we are recording. So if you're good with that, go ahead and weigh in.
Great morning, ladies. Yes, thanks for opening up the floor, and good to see everybody here this morning. And this is just like a Rhema topic for me. So I am thankful for that. And to weigh in, long story short, I grew up in the music industry. My dad was a drummer for the Isley Brothers, and now I work with a lot. I work with, compared to the average person, I work with a lot of Grammy Award-winning celebrities. I'm so thankful for that. The crazy thing is I was just I agree with what one of the speakers said about it starts off when we're young. And the reason I say it's crazy because I was just in a room where people were talking about, like putting themselves out there. Somebody had launched a podcast, and I'm sitting over here, thinking through, do I have the credibility, and like my friends and whatnot who are literally like tour managers and music leaders for the biggest acts in the world, and like, will it be enough? And like thinking through it so hard. And to this person's credit, they're out there in their room and going, I can show you how to do this and how to do the podcast. And I look, they have like maybe like 30 followers but long story short, they had a small platform and they didn't have a lot of luminaries. And I don't take anything away from it. It really made me look at myself and say, girl, if you don't get up, because you can jump out here and she's helping people, and people are being blessed and benefiting from it. And so it's like, how dare you, when God has given you so many, relationships and whatnot, and that you might even be able to come back and partner with this person and all the heart and courage that they have and help them even more people. She's using everything she has, period. So how, it was a how dare you moment for me. And then I came in here and here y'all are. So I'm just thankful for that. And that's what I have to offer. I do agree though, that I think it starts when we're young in all these different ways, especially, yes, as women, and then especially as Black women, and even things when our parents can be well intending, that book Mindset by Carol Dweck shows you a lot how, people, like, if your parents tell you all the time, you're an amazing musician, you always win first place in the music class, you always win first place in music, it can actually counteract somebody because you start thinking that perfection is the only option. And so it takes away from honoring the build and the quote unquote fail forward and people, all of that. So I'm just thankful for what y'all have in here. That's what I had to contribute right now.
Well,
and hey, Jarvis, so good to see you. Her rooms are always a blessing too. So I was also excited when I came in here and saw Jarvis in here too. So yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Sharice. Appreciate you weighing in on the topic. And could see that's the other thing. We have gifts and talents, and nobody does them like us, and we're amazing, but we won't go.
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay,
I got it. And it's always, I need more. I need to be more credible. I need more credentials. I need more pieces of paper. I need, what I'm saying? I need more training. Why not just go with what we have? Because we got more than somebody. And so we can offer that to somebody.
And you have something to say, something to share, and the people are starving, they're emaciated, sitting on the sideline, dying over there, but we have the answer, and sometimes we don't think we have enough of an answer. So we got Liz Green. Well, Liz, did you want to weigh in?
How you doing this morning, Liz?
Okay, and then it was like me, the mute button is down on the bottom, Liz. Bottom right, because I used to get lost over there. Hi, Tony.
Okay, I found the mute button. Yeah, I was just listening. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a very blessed morning listening to great conversation. I think we play it small by not letting our light shine. We have so many gifts that we're afraid to share them. And it's like when we recognize that what we know, somebody else might not know. And by just sharing it out, we brighten our world. We're giving flowers to our world. And stop comparing. We compare so much that we're unable to see our own bright light shining. So as I was listening, that's the thought that came through my head.
Thank you. Okay, Yolanda?
Good morning. Hey, guys. I'm always working here in the background and listening, just listening.
Oh, okay. So, hi, Tony, and welcome to the room. And if you would like to speak, you're more than welcome to come up on stage and just raise your hand and we'll bring you up. And I just had a thought. Playing it safe could also be playing it small.
True. And a lot of that too comes from, Tachi was talking about, things that are a result of culture. Sometimes those things were taught to us because they knew if our light shined too bright, that someone would just put it out. So it was a protection for you and for your community at a time when it was necessary. But things have changed, yet and still those things were ingrained in us because they didn't know when or whether the situation would change for you. So you have to unlearn some of these things that were taught to you for a very valid reason.
Right. Yeah, even though it was a valid reason,
At the time.
it's time for you to step up.
Yes. And not pass that on. That's one thing that's one gift you can give to the next generation. Don't pass it on to your children, your grandchildren. If you pass it on to your children, help them unlearn it as you unlearn it.
Right. And now we're going to hear from Tony. Tony.
Good morning, ladies. This is, really a treat because I just got off a Zoom call and I see all these powerhouses in one room. And it's just such a quaint setting. So thank you for inviting me to the conversation, Matt. One of the things that I was just talking about and my research stems around, things about agency. My research is the lived experiences of Black entrepreneurs, right? And so just was talking to a young lady about, the agency things, that perseverance, all of those things. And she said, when I started out my entrepreneurial journey, I was told that, I wasn't their cup of tea. I said, well, honey, I've been told that all my damn life. She learned throughout her 20-year journey to really own her Blackness, own who she is as a woman, and really let her light shine. And I think that it's very refreshing to see this paradigm shift of really people embracing their own superpower. So
yes.
Thank you, ladies.
Oh, thank you. It is very refreshing to step into the light. We're not supposed to dim the light. We're supposed to shine, and everybody has something that causes them to shine. And like was stated before, everybody is not called to talk to everybody, but the people you are called to talk to or to, I was going to say affect or to help, they need you. And it may not be that you're going to be on stage with the lights and whatever. There might be somebody around the corner in your neighborhood, the little kid that just needed encouragement, something. But if we play down like that's not a big enough audience, or I don't have enough, TJ talks about this all the time. I don't have 10,000 followers, so I really must not have nothing to say.
Wow.
TJ, you want to weigh in on that? Because you talked about that at length.
Yeah, that was one of the things we brought up yesterday on Clubhouse. I believe Ray in the conversation yesterday was saying that he had a podcast and he had invited some high level, people we would know to come to the podcast, and their representative or agent or whatever said, "Oh no, you don't go on that podcast. There's not enough people, or it's small." It was something to that effect he said, and I was like, don't let that stop. He mentioned that it kind of, that kind of thing would make you feel a certain way. And I said, no, you keep going because you're doing a podcast because you have something to say. It's not about who comes on or the big guest or going viral or all, I've got 1 million followers. It's not about that. You're here to put your voice out, and it can be a small group like this group. It's in Clubhouse. We're in a small room. I love the small room because you have more of a conversation. Everybody gets to talk, and
Yes.
not one of the larger rooms where there's 100 people on stage. I mean, on stage, not in a room, on stage. So that's like 100 people talking. How can you have a conversation when all of those people are muting and unmuting their mics and trying to talk? You can't do that. So you have to be happy. Not be happy, but you have to settle within yourself. Okay, I've got 100 people listening to me right now on my podcast or reading my blog or whatever. I'm going to consistently do what I have to do with my message, and more people will come. I always call it the breadcrumb system, or I just call it breadcrumbs. You put one out, and then people will follow behind you. Also, I call it the Pied Piper syndrome, where you're doing what you're doing, you're saying what you're saying online, and people will join you and follow you. So that ties into this Charlie Rocket story, where he got what he needed, not the way he thought, because he thought the RV company was going to give him the new RV. No, it was the people that followed him consistently and listened and watched his story and bought in and joined him that gave him the money for the new RV. So I just always say that it's not about going viral, having followers. It could be 100 followers, but they're dedicated and they show up every time you come online or you do something or say something online. They're there to support you.
Right. Dr. Tachi.
Yeah. So this is so important because followers are vanity metrics, as Terry will tell you, that really, why are they important? Because advertising has made it important. In order to get a certain amount of attention from advertisers, they're looking for you to have a certain amount of followers. But what good is it if you have 1 million followers and 10 people only talk to you all the time or engage with you? So engagement is the better metric, but to me, advertisers haven't learned that yet. But hence, we're all chasing that unattainable number sometimes because we think that in order to get I have to have X amount of followers. And it's not about that. You have to ask yourself, well, why are you doing this in the first place? Like with Ray, because he told us that story too. That, you're having these conversations that are really important. And guess what? Maybe that is not the guest for your show. Even if they're a friend, maybe that's not the guest for your show. Same thing with our podcast. Back when we first started in 2016, Kevin was really excited. He said, let's see if we can get, and all we were asking for was screeners. That costs you nothing to give us screeners so we could give your behind a review. So we contacted CBS and we're like, oh, okay. And they looked at like, oh, well, you don't have enough listeners. We were like, which? Fine. Now we are with NBC Universal and a bunch of others that will give us screeners. And we're like, now you don't even have any shows, CBS. So it's not maybe for you. That particular guest may not be for you at that time, but all you have to do is remember who was there for you at the beginning. I always do. I'm not saying hold it over their head, but just, look #side-eye when people won't want to come on or do things. And then when you blow up, everybody wants to be there. Remember the people who were for you at the beginning.
It kind of reminds me of the athletes where dad wasn't around until they became the next big thing in sports. And now all of a sudden you got dad and cousins and everybody else.
Can I add, Terry, what I would say to, your friend is that I always give my clients this analogy, because when we're building wealth, we deposit into the stocks or whatever that wealth vehicle is. And so we know that it happens over time. Mm-hmm. And so when you, like today, as I deposit my writing, deposit whatever I'm depositing into the universe, the return is not for today. And so that's why it is really important, when I speak with my clients, I say, listen, when you are talking today, when you're writing today, you will reap the benefits later. You can't expect to really say, oh, I want to be a star today. And I, you know, because I had a podcast and I'm like, hey guys, it is yours truly, Tony Ray Rod. And people still know my voice, even if I don't do the podcast anymore. You know, so deposit today to return much later.
I like that.
Good. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's really, really good. And why are you making the deposit? I keep remembering that all of the people who have made it big, let's start with Henry Ford. He wasn't out trying to become a billionaire. The story goes that he was trying to help his wife keep her dress out of the mud, getting in and out of the carriage. You know, and back in the day, horses and carriages and stuff, there's a lot of mud and the excrement and everything else. And so he, you know, pretty much is coming up with something. The horseless carriage kind of helped him to probably help keep peace at home too, get her dress and stuff out of the mud. Well, it helps other people too. Now we're all in a horseless carriage of some sort. But he wasn't out trying to make $1 billion.
Mhm.
That wasn't his motive. Apple was not trying to make $1 billion when they came out. Neither was Microsoft. They were trying to help people do better and be more productive. And then the billions came after they served and after they played it big and did whatever they needed to do to make things work.
Do you think there's anything wrong with doing something for the money, though?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I think the service normally comes first.
Look, we're in business to make money, to make a profit, to earn a living, to put, you know, to take care of, you know, basic needs. And I just don't like it when people show up and try to shame people for making money. Okay, no.
No, there is no shame in making money, but the profit should never come above the people. It should never, the people should never suffer because of the profit.
And you'll see more successful businesses when they are meeting a need. And when you were talking, Brent, I was just thinking about Sarah Blakely. She is the co-founder, well, not the co-founder, she is the founder of Spanx. And she said when she started out, all she did was she wanted to have control. She wanted to have pantyhose with the shaper.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just shocked that no hosiery manufacturer
had thought of it,
doing this. And then she actually sold the stockings to the shaper and took it around, and all of the big places with all, you know, I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying that they're in charge of something that they don't wear. They all shut her down and laughed at her. She's like, okay, I'm going to do it myself. So this is Sarah Blakely, Spanx, which now go forward a few years. She's a billionaire. It's a $1 billion brand because she met a need. Now, when you're doing a business, you do want to make money, because if you're not making money, it's a hobby. So, but I think the intent is that you fulfill a need, like with Henry Ford and his wife and Apple and all. Look at all the big corporations filling a need led to them being successful in business beyond their wildest dreams.
Right. And yeah, you still need to eat while you are building your business. You still need to eat. You still need to put the kids to school and all of that. But the thing is, you just don't take advantage of people.
Yes.
To get there.
And one more, because I'm a history buff, and I watch I think with A&E, they had a series on about the biggest brands that we have today, how they started. So they did one on Heinz. And did you know that the Heinz ketchup came out of, back then in the day, they would get meat that wasn't fresh, so but they would eat it anyway. And there was a green condiment they would put on it, but it was horrible. And he was like, wait a minute, I need to make something that makes this less than A+ meat because it was old and almost rancid meat they ate. He decided to come up with a formula, and it took him a while to get the right formula. That's why it's called Heim 57. That 57,
Right.
it's the 57th recipe.
Uh-huh.
It came out of because back then they would get meat from the butcher that wasn't, really edible. So they had to put something on it to eat it. I just thought that was so interesting. And here we are. We have Heinz ketchup and all of these other products.
Steak sauce. Go ahead, Dr. Tati.
I was just going to say that's exactly why I don't like ketchup. You hear the history came from so you could cover up rancid meat, and I always say this at all. And like I could tolerate barbecue sauce, vinaigrette-based dressing, and that's about it. So when I'm on ketchup, yeah. And so now hearing the history, thank you. This is reason number 576 for me not to like.
Oh, Tati, I love you, girl.
But see how I brought it up. I know it doesn't sound like an appetizing story, but I was just so fascinated because it was like it was for a need back then, the 1800s or whatever, and it was like we need to make this meat editable, and let's come up with a sauce. And I forgot the name of the program. They did other companies like Kellogg's and different things. But it was just the fact that I was like, okay, it came out of a need, and you never think about, like Patty says, ketchup. It's just a thing. It's like you never think about how it was born or created or what was the idea. But that's the 57.
Wow. Go ahead, Sharice.
No, I just wanted to add another per Terry's point on things that people that made money and whatnot, like not demonizing money. So every morning I read some more Black history, and that's not just because it's Black History Month. It helps me, right? Helps me realize that I got more to do. So anyway, this morning I happened to be reading about going through a book about Harriet Tubman, and I had heard this over and over and over, but it struck me this time that she worked in kitchens for $1 per week, and that she also ran of course she worked, everyone knows that she worked as a nurse and spy during the Civil War, but she also supplemented her income by running an eating house in Beaufort where she was. And then she also sold the Union soldiers root beer pie and gingerbread, which she baked during the night after her day's work. And I think that there's just so much in there that we look back and we look at like historical figures, or we look at people with their name now, and we don't realize how committed they were and how hard they went, during the day and during the night, and how they financed the dream. They financed the movement, whatever it might have been, or for other, like for traditional companies, how they, started just really focus on solving a problem. And so I think it just is in line with what Dr. Kachi was saying about, if you're focused on serving people and focused on the cause, and then, you may need to finance it, of course. But I think that there's another side of Harriet's story that we don't look at enough, and how she was committed to the cause, and she was, selling things to Union soldiers and fighting for freedom, but that she was also doing additional work, to along the way as well. But especially that part, like she was serving, but also the work that she was doing and that part of it was also financing what she'd be able to do with slaves and getting them, new clothes and getting them things to disguise themselves along the way, or to set them off on a better chance in life. But we don't hear about her relationship with like William Lloyd Garrison, who donated over and over and over to her cause and others. And I just think that we don't look at progress even in our own community. We just see these people and we think, I don't know what we think, but how they live, so anyway. That's my thought on her.
Sharice, I know what you mean. It's by rote. It's like we're doing a lot of things by rote. It's like, especially Black History Month. It's like, okay, Martin Luther King Jr. You name the names of, okay, we know you had a dream. And you're doing it by rote without thinking about the process, like you said. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
I like the fact that she was, she had a hustle.
Yeah.
The hustle was financing the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we want to get paid and just sit back and relax and go take something on the island instead of financing the dream that's really in our hearts. We need to go and do whatever that work is. I don't feel like doing that. Well, maybe you need to do that in order to fund the dream that you have. Sometimes you got to do stuff that's not cute. You know, I can't wear the stilettos today. I have to get in there, put on some boots, and get in there and do the work.
Well, my grandmother said sometimes you have to finish somebody else's road so you can get out this field. You know, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. Dr. Tachi.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The thing is, I think we see all the people who have the mindset of I want to be a millionaire or I want to be wealthy. So not everybody, but some people look at those people on the private island sitting and doing, you know, for all intents and purposes, nothing after they've made whatever, and they're not looking at it in context. Number one, that's very few people that are going to be able to sit back and do that. That's not the typical story. It doesn't mean it can't be your story, but that's not the typical story. So when people sit back and do nothing and then wonder why the spoils are not coming, well, that is not everybody's role. It's the same argument I use when I don't necessarily believe that you have to go to college to be able to do great things, to be able to amass wealth. Not at all, especially knowing that you know, colleges and universities are businesses. They are, you know, they're making money off of you. So, and especially in this day and age, we need to rethink education. I'm very much about rethinking college and thinking education systems. But you know, everybody always points to, well, Mark Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard. What's his name from Microsoft didn't, you know, Gates didn't do this or what? I'm like, that's two people against everybody else. That's probably not you, and that's not to be mean, but it's that is not the normal route. And not saying don't go off path, but also don't get surprised or don't be surprised when it doesn't work out because you're not looking at it in context.
Right.
All those gates and everything, what did they have beforehand that allowed them to get to this point without having to do very much work? So just saying, if that's not you, if you're not coming from those types of means where you could just kind of sit back and coast while stuff back, then you need to do the work.
Right. And then there are times, I've noticed this, there are some people who are not cut out to necessarily own their own business. Yes, the opportunity is there, but if you don't have the mindset, I have run into more people than I can count. They have an employee mindset, and nothing I can do try and help them, trying to talk them into becoming a business owner is going to freak them out. Or it's going to be, well, yeah, I want that. But they don't have the mindset that it's necessary to carry it out. When it's time to go big or when it's time to make that call, they're like, nah, I don't know. They opt for the security, the job, and not to say a job is bad. I'm just saying some people, they don't have that mindset to do that, to play. They can play big in a certain arena, but maybe not in the arena, a bigger arena. Now, I don't know how I would do if I was in a Fortune 500 company right now. Do I have the mindset to carry that out? I don't know. I have to look at myself for that.
I am over here laughing because I'm like, you know, I'm a recovering HR executive. It's crazy. And to Dr. Tachi's point, I look at it like this, you know, we look at Mark Zuckerberg or, Bill Gates or any one of them and not even what they had before is like, how do you define success? Because there are many successful people that we don't even know about,
right,
who have private jets and, they have a lot of things. So you have to really define what success looks like for you. And, to your point, Biz, it's like, for me, I'm like, I use the worker mindset. I say, it's a worker bee and a queen bee. And I have a sister and I love her dearly, and she's a worker bee and she's fine with that. But she knows that, I am a queen bee. I cannot go out and work for someone, a corporate structure every day. That's just not who I am. But, to know thyself be true. And I think that's really, really important.
Right. Dr. Tachi? Oh.
Well, I was just clapping for her. I think it's like emoji instead of this.
Right. Just because, and you're absolutely right. Now, I can do many things, and one of them is not work for somebody else. That's not my cup of tea. And I don't think it ever has been my cup of tea, because I'm figuring out ways to do stuff differently, and they're looking at me, are you crazy? I'm like, okay. So go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
You know what? You probably can, and you have before, I'm sure, worked for someone else. I think the question is, do you want to work for someone else?
Yeah.
Because I've worked in corporate before, and of course, very briefly, but most of my career has been in the academy as a professor.
Right.
So I can do that. Do I want a full-time associate professorship anymore? No. And I've been asked over and over, people call me, hey, we have a position, lovely for you. I don't want it. I am not interested in that life anymore. And, it's a scary thing when you say you're not interested in those things, because that also means you may not be interested in that steady paycheck. That means all those types of things. So it's scary when you're first going out. But if you know you're the type of person, like I know now I can do it, I prefer not to. I prefer to work for myself on my own. So you can, Francine.
Yes, I can.
But you choose not to.
Yeah, that is exactly right. Thank you for helping me reframe that, because I was like, not doing it. I'm really not doing it. So, Tony, yes.
I have to get out of here. Have a great day.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate you stepping in, and make sure we follow one another here. This has been some great conversations. We are stepping out of here at on the top of the hour. Bonnie Frank is in the room. She's in there listening. I think I did invite you up if you want to weigh in. If you need help with your anything, pretty much social media, we've got TJ and Bonnie in the room. Follow them, because Bonnie will help you with your small business and getting you all dialed in, and TJ will help you get your social media and everything all dialed in. And then we've got Yolanda, who's got you want to tell us about what you got going on, that red box of yours?
Yes.
Y'all, I'm over here right now. Hello to all the bitch chicks.
Hey, how you doing, Yolanda?
Printing out these Valentine's Day orders. I am so happy to lather up your loved ones. I don't know whether to put them. I'm trying to put the phone down. I'm trying to pick up the phone, but I'm picking up the mouse. So hopefully y'all can hear me.
We can hear you fine.
We had a chance to do, and we captured some media attention this weekend. And so today is our shipping day, and I am over here printing out orders. And we're not even been hit yet, but we've been hit. Okay. So shout out to all the early birds. And I feel so bad because those that are waiting, to the last minute, ooh, I hope you get in. But listen, my pet peeve with when you say going small and things like that, there's two things. One is, don't tell me your problem twice, right? Because the first time I'm going to give you an answer, and the second time that's you coming back doubting either me or yourself. And I can have you doubting me, right? And don't you shouldn't have to tell somebody else your problem twice. because that's either you don't care or they don't care. There's something wrong with having to espouse a problem twice, right? That means you got to do some convincing of one of those two people is not the right person, right? So that's my thing. Like, if you asked me last week how this thing was going, and if I came in this week and I had the same problem, that means I'm hanging around Biz Chicks for the wrong reason. But y'all know, I launched this thing from Biz Chicks, and y'all saying, hell, just do it. And now we had an amazing Christmas. Valentine, we decided we were going to do this red box Valentine, and people are telling me now I need to go and get a turquoise box. I'm like, y'all trying to get me some cease and desist coming up here as we get ready for Mother's Day. Because I was asking, I posted, what color box should we use for a Mother's Day? Because that's the next thing, not to mention Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Red box Valentine is a brilliant idea that was given to me by Lord knows angels. Y'all, it's amazing. Can I just tell you, it's amazing. We sent it out, of course, to a couple of influencers, and not influencers that I expected to be influencers. People who just simply said they admired it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to send them a box. And I sent them a box. They did videos, and I woke up like, what happened?
Wow.
And I'm over here now. My excitement today is that I could get 2 of these boxes in a priority box. If anybody does shipping, you know what
I feel you on that.
Nice.
So it's exciting. And thank you so much, Biz Chicks, because if y'all didn't make the stuff really simple, I think I would be over here playing it small. And the fact that I get to come in, and I dedicate my Mondays to listening, y'all, because every Monday I come in, y'all try to throw them in. I'm like, I'm over here listening, and not only listening, but I'm implementing immediately what I hear you ladies say, and y'all just been a saving grace to me. And let me tell you, I'm one of those people. I know it all. Okay, I'm gonna know it all, but I know what I don't know, and I know to be quiet and listen. So I'm gonna go back, be quiet and listen, and keep trying to print out these orders. All right. Thank you so much, Biz Chicks.
You're welcome. Hey, Richard, welcome to the room. Liz, do you want to say anything else before we sign off?
No, I'm just learning which buttons to push and listening to great conversations, ladies. So thanks for allowing me on. Just listening and implementing.
Thank you, Liz. And then, Sharice, do you want to have any final words before we let y'all get back to your grind or your hustle?
Thanks again, like Liz said, for the great conversation this morning, and this is a great set off to the week. So thank you, Biz Chicks, for not playing small, but stepping out here and putting place for people to say, hey, let's work on our businesses and like try our best. Like Yolanda said, implement, take, not just listen, but action. So thank y'all. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Dr. Tati.
Sorry. What am I supposed to say?
Anything you want to say, because we're going to wrap up the room here so people can get back to work. We don't like holding you because, we got business to run.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here today. It's always a joy and a pleasure to participate with you all. I guess I'll say what I do. I have a live stream every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time called Mediascope. I talk all about media, tech, and pop culture news. That is on Periscope/Twitter for now, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, WJMSradio.com. We've also recently added Clubhouse to the mix, so you can listen or watch on any of those platforms.
All right. Great. And then, Richard, is there anything you want to share or talk about before we sign out? And then, TJ, I'm going to get you and let you have the last say. Richard, I know you're new here, so. Okay, so if you raised your hand, then you could talk as well. TJ?
Okay, what I'm going to say is, again, great conversations. I'm glad we're having them on Clubhouse now. So we're going to keep it going. Tomorrow, Carolina and I will be back talking about digital marketing strategy for your business. And we'll talk all things digital marketing and, just our weekly chat. So come on and join us. We'll be in Clubhouse. We'll be on every platform with Terry Johnson Online on the Biscuit.
All right.
Tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yay. And we will be back here next month. Well, we'll be back here Friday for Tech Life Weekly with the Tech Divas and Dudes. We will be starting that at 8 a.m. on Friday, talking all things tech, media, social media. And then we'll be back here again for more coffee and conversations on Monday. And over here on live stream, we want to say thank you for tuning in, and thank you for, being the best part of our day, not Folgers in your cup, but all of you all for watching live on the replay. And Terry, what is anything you want to tell them?
I just want you to remember to go to the front of your own line. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you all.